Hello everyone, my name is Ursula Nebel and this is field-based activity number 2 for Dr. Kokiko's class in Education 541 School and Society at Franciscan University. The field-based activity statement is as follows. Consider the general characteristics of the millennial generation. What skill strengths and gaps as well as preconceptions do these students bring to your class? Devise a set of diverse instructional strategies to teach these students. Millennials are the generation born between 1982 and 2000. The millennials are considered the American teens and children in their 20s who are making their way into adulthood at the start of a new millennium. They have personalities of being confident, self-expressive, posting videos of themselves, getting tattoos and piercings in places other than in their earlobes. Also, they are liberal, upbeat, and open to change. Millennials are history's first always connected generation. They are heavily involved with digital technology and social media. It is not all about the gadgets, but it is the way they have fused their social lives into them. They are more likely to say technology makes life easier and brings family and friends closer together. They are more ethnically and racially diverse than older adults. They are less religious, less likely to have served in the military, and are on track to become the most educated generation in American history. This is a trend driven largely by the demands of a modern knowledge-based economy, but most likely accelerated in recent years by growing enrollment in colleges, in part because they can't find a job. Millennials also get along better with their parents and they respect their elders. Many people realize that education needs to change with the millennial generation. This generation has been treated as special and important. Every milestone was marked with celebrations and praise. These children may carry a sense of entitlement about them and have an expectation of frequent positive feedback. They feel they are here to solve world problems that older generations have failed to do. These children are motivated, goal-oriented, and confident in themselves and the future, so they expect college to help launch them to greatness. They are team-oriented rather than being individualist. They want to be seen as part of the group. The focus on getting good grades, hard work, and involvement in extracurricular activities is resulting in higher achievement levels. Their focus is more on the world of achievement rather than personal development. In Alam, Gibson, and Stratton's research, they ponder several characteristics about millennials. First, millennials growing up were directed and nurtured by both their parents and teachers, that they may as a result be obedient of faculty and administrators, looking to them for their knowledgeable guidance and support. Therefore, they need to be prepared to display expertise, reinforce motivation, invest in outcome, and celebrate victories. Second, it is also believed that millennial students will be less distrustful of policies, procedures, and processes than the Gen Xers or Boomers. However, to retain that trust, materials that spell out rules, policies, and procedures may need to be carefully prepared and regularly re-examined and displayed in multiple formats, such as written booklets and posted on the web. The rules students are expected to follow must be fairly enforced. Third, millennial students are team-oriented. Encouraged to be cooperative and collaborative, they have developed skills that not only ensure mutual inclusiveness, but also the expectation that all team members do their part. Given their collaborative nature, millennial students should be predisposed to judging plans and projects according to their merit and providing constructive suggestions to group approaches to solving problems. Also, Angela McGlynn's research focuses on the characteristics of the millennials. She emphasizes that millennials try to organize their schedules so they can keep in all the fun activities and do what is minimally possible to pass courses. Teachers could take a more active role in getting students to recognize how they use their time and suggest ways for them to manage their time more effectively. Teachers need to become more proactive in reaching out to students to help them set realistic goals and provide guidance that will help them reach those goals. McGlynn suggests to ask students questions to help them reflect on their goals and to help them check the assumptions they make. Also, millennials are accustomed to 24/7 conveniences. They can get instant answers on the web, shop online anytime, and get responses from their friends instantaneously. She states this expectation of convenience carries over into academia. Many students expect instant gratification from their teachers in terms of getting their papers back graded and getting instant responses to their emails, voicemails, etc. Now, I would like to talk with Alyssa DeLuca, who is a 6th grade English virtual teacher and an 8-year veteran at the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School. I will interview her to find her thoughts regarding the strengths and gaps that her students bring within the educational setting that she works, and to gather what diverse instructional strategies she uses to teach these students.
When thinking about skill strengths of millennials, I would have to say that my students are extremely skilled with technology and they're also very creative. For example, many of my students are willing to create a PowerPoint presentation on just about any topic, and then they like to present those to the class. In addition to that, they like to produce digital stories using Photo Story 3 or Windows Movie Maker. On the other hand, because these students are millennials and also they are in a virtual classroom, there could be a preconception that these students are just automatically adept at using technology, where in fact, of course, that's not the case. They still need to be properly trained on how to efficiently and properly use that technology, any programs that we may use in class, and also they need to be taught about those safety concerns or any safety and concerns involved in using that technology. With regard to weaknesses or gaps that I have seen in my students, I would say that some of my students struggle with formal communication and teamwork. For instance, in a breakout session, and these breakout sessions are a small group where these students are asked to work with one or two or maybe even three other students. And I find that some students just prefer to work independently. So they don't want to work with the other students in the group. They'd rather just complete the task by themselves. Now, so it will take some encouragement on my part and the other students in the group to really encourage the cooperative learning to take place. With regards to formal communication, this an example would be a formal essay where students are asked to use formal writing and they are not to be using informal language such as text messaging language. And I sometimes have students sneak that in there and think that um, it's okay to put such words and abbreviations into a formal piece of writing. So that's something that we do work on getting away from um, in the writing process. Well, I do understand that millennials are completely immersed with different technologies throughout their day. So it only makes sense to try to incorporate technology into their learning to enhance their learning processes. So I have tried to do that. I've utilized a few different technologies, and I'm looking into trying some more out in the coming year. First, I've utilized discussion board. I've used it for a couple of different reasons. For socialization, of course, that's so important in the virtual classroom. These students need to get to know each other so that they're comfortable with each other in class and hopefully then able to work with each other in groups. So socialization is a big one, and I really find that the students love to talk to each other and just to get to know each other in the discussion board. I've also used it to allow students to discuss a weekly story. For example, I've posted a question about the problem of the story, or asking students' opinions about the way the main character acted or a decision that the main character made. And students do respond well to those questions. And my goal is that it really enhances their understanding of the story and gives them something else to think about, something that maybe they didn't think about on their own when they read the story. So I've utilized a discussion board. Something else that I've used, and I know I mentioned it before, is PowerPoint. PowerPoint is something that the students really like to use to create different presentations relating, to English and other subjects too. I've also used Photo Story 3, and last year I did a fun project where the students had to create a fable script, and so they did this on their own. And in the future, I'm looking to using this as a more of a cooperative learning activity. But last year, what I did was I had students create a fable script. So they created just a dialogue with a fable. It had a lesson at the end. They used two animal characters, and taught a lesson by the end of their script. And the second part of the project was they used Photo Story 3 to bring their script to life, and they could do it any way they wanted. Some of them used pictures that they downloaded from Google. Some drew pictures. Some one boy used clay. He used clay to create his animals and each scene. So, I mean, it was very neat. I mean, they were so creative with the things that they were coming up with. So it was really them using their creativity and bringing that script to life in the Photo Story 3. So that was a really cool project. So I'd like to do more of that this coming year, so that they are able to not, they're still writing because they're creating the fable script, but they are also using the creativity and really producing some wonderful projects. So I'd like to do that again. And then I also this year would like to incorporate Google Docs, where students can possibly peer edit each other and help each other with papers, and also create a story together. So I really like the idea of students, building on this idea of teamwork, coming up with an idea and building off each other's ideas in Google Docs. And they can do that, of course, from anywhere in the state. So they don't have to be sitting next to each other to actually work on this paper. So that is my plan for the coming year. So really the point is to try to incorporate as many technologies as I can to enhance the skills of the millennials, their weaknesses, help them with their weaknesses, and also build upon their strengths.
Following my discussions with Alyssa DeLuca, I pondered how I can create goals that will ultimately improve the use of my instructional strategies to teach my millennial students in my 5th grade math online classroom. First, I would like to incorporate the use of discussion boards more in my classroom. I occasionally use a discussion forum to communicate about a topic of interest between the students to increase communication, but I would like to use it more in math to increase reflection and critical thinking of problems. By using this, I will be giving my students more time to reflect on the lesson or problem. Secondly, I will actively pursue the potential use of having students create PowerPoint slides. Alyssa mentioned having her students create story presentations using this program. For end of chapter reviews, I could have students collaborate in breakout rooms to create one lesson from the chapter using PowerPoint. Then the groups will be able to share them with the class as a final review before the test. Finally, I plan to make my class website as interactive and engaging as possible. This year, my goal is to introduce Google Docs. We have not had the capability of having thread discussions in years past. I have not used Google Docs in my classes, but I am looking forward to the functionality in math this year. Students will have this wonderful opportunity to post comments about the lessons and assignments, reply to their peers, and begin to collaborate on assignments, or create math problems together by building off each other's ideas. Using the available collaborative technology in my math classroom not only gives students the opportunity to learn to be a team player, but also will allow learning to be much more relevant in today's world. In conclusion, the millennial generation comes to the classroom with different technological experiences and expectations of achievement. Therefore, teachers need to be prepared to help this generation of students. We need to help them learn how to navigate the current media and prepare them for the competitive global workforce. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.